Hello and welcome to another enlightening episode of The Beam, where curiosity meets conversation, taking us a step further into the future we desire. I'm Sunas Nathaniel, and on today's episode of the program, we're going to be looking at clean energy and how a provision like the CNG can help in this downturn of the economy. Before we get into that discussion, just hold up, because we're going to give you a quick tech update, and when we come back, we'll be going deep into what CNG can do for Nigeria within this time. Stay with us. Don't go away.
Hello and welcome. Here is a quick tech update for the week. Team Shell X Root from Côte d'Ivoire won the third ECOWAS Regional Cybersecurity Hackathon in Abuja, taking home $10,000 and advanced digital devices. Team Miva from Benin Republic secured second place with $8,000, while Nigeria's Team Error placed third, earning $6,000. The event highlighted ECOWAS's and NITDA's dedication to cultivating young cybersecurity talent, addressing cross-border cybercrime, and empowering regional youth. Meanwhile, Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, has announced new measures to combat sextortion targeting teens. The updates include stricter controls on messaging and follower access, nudity protection features, and educational videos on sporting scams. The initiative aims to address rising online sextortion cases, which have surged over 300% from 2021 to 2023. Now, staying with Meta, recently the company fired around 24 employees from its Los Angeles office for misusing meal credits, using them for items like laundry detergents and wine glasses. The credits intended for food while working were reportedly used for non-food purchases or home deliveries. The firing follows Meta's broader restructuring efforts and ongoing layoffs across various teams. In the meantime, the United States Treasury Department says it is increasingly leveraging artificial intelligence to combat fraud, resulting in the prevention of $4 billion in improper payments in the fiscal year of 2024. The agency utilized machine learning technology to halt $1 billion in check fraud and identify at-risk transactions, marking a six-fold increase in fraud prevention from the previous year. And finally, SpaceX made history by successfully catching the first stage booster of its Starship mega rocket after a test flight.
We have liftoff.
The Super Heavy booster returned to the launch pad in Texas, where mechanical arms known as Mechazilla safely grasped it. This achievement, they say, marks a significant step towards rapid reusability in space exploration. And that's your quick tech update for this week. Stay tuned for more cutting-edge news from the ever-evolving world of technology. I'll see you next time.
All right, welcome back. Today, the focus is on clean energy and its potential to elevate Nigeria's economic burden, particularly through the use of the compressed natural gas, CNG. Nigeria has an abundance of natural gas reserve, yet we are still heavily reliant on imported petrol. The recent removal of the fuel subsidy and the subsequent increase in fuel prices have left many Nigerians struggling. Could shifting to CNG provide economic relief while also helping to achieve environmental sustainability? We'll be discussing the current state of Nigeria's energy landscape and how CNG can offer a cleaner, cheaper alternative to petrol. What are the challenges that come with transforming and transitioning to CNG? And what are the policies that are needed to make CNG feasible solution for Nigerians? Joining me today right here in our studio is none other than Mr. Akim Akintayo. He is an analyst, a political analyst and development analyst who understands a lot about the energy space when it comes to CNG. Later on, we're also going to be joined by Dr. Oni, but until then, let us begin with Mr. Akim. You're welcome again.
Thank you so much for having me one more time.
All right. Thank you very much. It's important that we come back to this issue. The last time we were here was still an economic issue that brought you, and we're back to an economic issue, but this time we're saying, hey, there might be some light, and the light is in the compressed natural gas. And the question many Nigerians will be asking, is this just another ploy? Is this just another charade? Is this just another thing they bring up? Or is this something that would really fix the gap when it comes to energy solutions, when it comes to, economic situations that are really making people to crumble these days. How will it work? How does it come in?
Honestly, it's a reality, and it's not confined to Nigeria. All over the world, most gas-producing countries, what I mean by gas, crude, the OPEC members of this world, plus America and Russia, they are all, divesting into gas because, gas is more cleaner and is more safer and even cheaper than the crude, and of course, if you come to Nigeria, according to official report, we have more gas reserve than even the crude. And of course, gas is more immune to thefts, like we have in the crude line of industry, where you have all kinds of either economic theft, within the corridors of power or within the community and all that. But with gas, it's more I think it's more business friendly for the government. But government can account for how many cubic of of gas that they can extract and they can export and they can use locally. And like I was trying to say, that a lot of countries, they are having options, in the area of energy. You talk about electric, you talk about gas. And for me, I feel even the aspect of natural gas, compressed natural gas, we're coming too late because the world have moved forward. And it's very unfortunate because of the kind of governance system we have in Nigeria, where it's all about talk, and no action. And I can bet you, even if you look back at the policy of government for the past maybe 1 or 2 decades, there have been, talks and intention to migrate into natural gas, and so have this competition of energy sources we can use in Nigeria. But unfortunately, it has not been, followed up with political will. Like the last, the first major CNG, news or celebration we had in Nigeria was in 2010, and that was during Jonathan. I think Jonathan thereabout. Yes, like I said, the gas policy was to make sure we commercialize instead of flaring that we have been known for the past almost 60 years of exploration of crude. So you see, after the launching by NIPCO, I can remember NIPCO launched it in somewhere in Edo State, thinking it would be a starting point for more acceptance and marketability of CNG as an alternative. So, but you see, everything went cold. And we went into that crude again, depend our economy on the crude and importation of petrol. And unfortunately, we are where we are today. But you see, it's better late than never. I think the government is doing what they should do. But I feel there should be more investment into the acceptance, and especially the area of conversion and refueling. Right. Because, you see, when you are starting a new thing, a lot of people will have concerns. And even like it is right now, a lot of people still complain about the amount in conversion, which is about 1.5 or 1.2 or thereabout. So if government with a lot of stakeholders can make this thing more accessible, because you see, when I had my privilege, privilege to discuss with policymakers in that industry, one of the things I keep hammering them is, look, it shouldn't be a policy for Abuja and Lagos markets. Yeah. There are millions of Nigerians who are in emergency situation right now. Because the purchasing power has drastically dropped, and they are looking for alternative sources of, freeing themselves off from, this spending on the petrol. Yeah. So if the government can be able to, cascade this policy to the states as well as local government, because if every day we talk about inflation on price of food items, agro products, and the rest of it, I believe government is so intentional, to drive this alternative source, which is CNG, to the locals. It's really to people who transport these food
Commodities.
from the locals, from the communities, from the farms, down to the cities, down to the markets. I'm sure it's going to impact greatly on the price of agro products.
Okay, you've said something earlier on, and I'm going to start from there before we delve into many other things. You said something about political will. You see, in Nigeria, there's this thing about, there's a certain cabal when it comes to the energy sector. And then the question is, if they've been profiting from fuel, what are the chances that they would really allow for the proper transitioning to CNG? What are the chances that there won't be an obstacle down the line as regards, that real transitioning?
You see, what I'm happy about is that government is not starting this policy with huge, subsidy investments. Because once you start subsidizing, it becomes a norm, just like what we did in petrol. When we had this oil boom in the 70s and the 60s, especially in the 70s, when we started this subsidy payment, it became a norm and people started feeding fat from it. So if the government, like I said, most governments in the world, what they usually do and what they must do is enabling environments, facilitation. That is what government should be doing, not being a player in the industry. Yeah, you can catalyze, you can drive, you can push people to come together and, have a common interest, which is, of course, in the private sector, profit making, and allow it to thrive. What I'm trying to say is that the government can be able to encourage the private players to invest. A lot of people are looking for where to invest money.
All right. It's good you have said that a lot of people are looking for a place to invest in. Very soon we're going to be going on a break, and in that 1 minute, when we come back, we're going to be going into more specific issues as regards how much does it cost? Is it a long-term thing, or is it just something intermediate? Is it going to be about transportation, or will it go down to even the cost of food? We need to understand all this when it comes to CNG. Don't go away. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to The Beam. If you're just joining us, I'm speaking to Mr. Akim Akintayo, and we are discussing the role of CNG in Nigeria's clean energy transition. One thing we have really looked at, Mr. Akim, is funding. It's too expensive to transition from, my fuel car, diesel, to CNG. And then the question becomes, it seems like it's only the federal government that is doing this. Where are the states in all this matter?
It's a question begging for answers. I think, if you ask me, the state government should be ashamed of themselves because they are leaving this responsibility to federal government, which I think is not fair enough to the Nigerian people and the welfare of Nigerians generally. I think, you see, there have been too much buck passing, blame game going on in our governance as a whole, where the state government directs the anger of the people at the center. I don't think it's fair enough, and it's been going on for so many years. When federal government bring in a good initiative, I think the state government should be able to take the initiative to their citizens, and take it to the grassroots. But not living, because if you look at what is happening on the CNG project, it's as if it's only the federal government that is talking and that is making all the push, doing all the marketing, and so federal government only have Abuja as a space of ownership. The state controls land. And if I were the state, one of the state governments, I think they should be able to give land, resources to investors, local investors, just like we have when we had this GSM, revolution, where a lot of people, got interested for economic empowerment. They started, having shops to either buy in bulk, in wholesale, and sell to, end users, in their locality.
Yeah.
So I think the state government should be able to key into this, and whatever, of course, you can see the amount of money they are collecting as allocation right there. It's almost like triple what they were having before. So I don't think there should be any excuse for the state government not to key in to this, so that the pains will be reduced, and the blame game, the economic hardship that we're having in the country presently will be reduced. So I think, for example, if you look around, it's only about 3 or 4 state governments that are really buying into this, and like I said, they should be able to drive the process. I was envisaging, state government even doing instrument, what they call a hire purchase. Get these vehicles. There are so many investors. There are so many people who are ready to partner with government. In the auto business, get these vehicles, partner with end users like commercial drivers, or unions. You have unions. They can get this vehicle. Just like I think it happened under Aero 5, if I'm not mistaken, and Bala Mohammed in Abuja, where they got some of these luxurious vehicles, and buses rather, and they gave it to drivers, commercial drivers, and they were paying instrumentally, and they were able to pay off. I was envisaging when this initiative came out, I was envisaging that this is what the state government will buying into. And aside that, even the instrumental conversion, it should be what the state government and the local government, if it's still working, they should be able to take the ownership and drive it.
You just brought something about the conversion process. Recently, we had that explosion in Edo State, if I'm not mistaken, and then it raises fear as regards, the fear of how, CNG, conversion can take place in Nigeria professionally. So the question then will become, are we ready? Do we have the expertise? Are we sure that we can get this to the standard that would not be hazardous to the people?
And that's the responsibility and much more work for the federal government to do. Either the presidential initiative on CNG that the government set up last year, and I think Standard Organization of Nigeria, there should be a meeting point where they will have a framework, a regulatory framework, to make sure these CNG kits are not fabricated in a substandard way, and will not have fake products flying around like it was confirmed that the one in Edo State was fabricated by a roadside welder, maybe trying to cost. I know, and I think this is should be also an advice to us Nigerians in our desperate means to cut our costs of energy. We should also be very, very mindful of safety, because safety comes first before you can cut costs. So the federal government have a lot to do. They should sit down in one room and come up with. And again, I think there should be updating. I went through the website of the CNG, and I saw about 100 and something, conversion centers. I think they should have more of that. There should be more detailed explanation of how you can get these kits, where you can convert it, and the specifications, so that Nigerians will know. Fall into the wrong hands of, unpatriotic, element in the society. So it's something that, the federal government, I think there should also be an app to check who and who, and also even train some of these auto mechanics. I saw I think the PCNG and the Lagos State government trained some auto mechanics. And if we want to drive this process, we should be able to get key players, key stakeholders, the semi-skilled and skilled laborers, people who are in the mechanic industry per se, and of course you should be able to have some influencers like maybe celebrities, testing the safety of those the conversions and the usage, then they should be able to, drive it, because we need acceptability of this initiative, as well as, reduce the focus on petrol. So that, because once there is much migration to other sources like the CNG we are talking about right now, maybe the price of petrol might just drop.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm hoping that those in the PCNGI are supposed to be watching right now. I'm hoping those in authority who are supposed to be taking note of these things are really listening, because it is time we transition.
It is time. It is time. Every country is transitioning from, petrol to either EV, which is an electric vehicle, and the CNG, all over the world. And we should, in fact, if you ask me, we're about 20 years backward. But it's not, like I said, it's better late than never. And you see, Nigeria it stands to gain more, because we have these resources in abundance. We don't have to import, or ship the gas. We can refine the gas.
We can do all the refining.
Everything. Yeah. So it's a win-win for Nigeria and for Nigerians.
All right. I want to thank you, Mr. Akim, for coming on the program today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
All right, friends, it is clear that while CNG presents a promising opportunity, there are still many hurdles that the government needs to fix. There are so many things that needs to happen. Friends, that's where we're going to wrap it up on this episode of The Beam. We're going to be bringing you our top 5 videos of the week. But as always, I am Sunes Nathaniel. This has been The Beam. Stay curious, stay ready. God bless Nigeria.
Our 5th most viewed video of this week is an interview in which Nigerian businessman and publisher Mr. Dele Momodu asserts that those surrounding President Bola Tinubu are not ready for change.
Has turned me into an incurable pessimist. There is nothing you say. I will just sit down, look, and be watching. I don't know anything about capacity any longer. You see, you know the story of Abiku. Abiku has turned the herbalist into a novice. That is what our political leaders have turned Nigeria into.
In 4th place, we see Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State speak on debt worries and minimum wage.
In Lagos, where you see businesses, both small, medium, and large corporate, see it as home, see it as a place where their staff are safe, where their businesses continue to thrive, where there is the enabling environment.
Coming third in our countdown this week is a one-on-one with Senator Orji Uzokalo.
Let me be honest with you. Under every leader, God creates leaders for a purpose. Every leader has a purpose God has created him.
Second in our countdown, we have the Minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, urging Governor Fubara and the Rivers people to allow the Supreme Court to decide the fate of the current State Assembly. Our most viewed video this week is an interview on Politics Today, in which former Governor Ayodele Fayose speaks on how the People's Democratic Party is haunted by election loss amid other political issues in the country.
I believe that the matter has crossed the Rubicon. The matter has gone far. Breach of trust. And even if you want to resolve this matter, where do you put the trust? How do you put the trust back?
And that's it on our countdown today. Join us next week for more.